Good evening, everyone. This is Alamjeet Flora from the Wednesday Talk Show. So we are here today with a great show coming up with Nivedita Basu. But before that, I would like to say that if you want to know more about Pothos events, please visit our website www.pothosevents.com. To follow us, you can also be on Facebook. You can like us on our page, and also if you have missed any of our shows, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel so you're updated with all the informative shows that we have had in the past and many more to come. So today we have with us Nivedita. I'm so proud to present her to you. But before that, just a little thought. Currently, we all binge watching many Netflix, Amazon series. We also see many films are getting released on the OTT platforms. We often see Haseen suggesting to our friends and colleagues, sometimes declaring on social media, which serials are a must watch on these platforms. We are able to watch these series on our TV screens, laptop, iPads, and even on our smartphones. All this can be done now at our convenient time. But how many of you remember from where it all started for us in India? Did you ever realize that making these the audience mesmerized at a given time slot was had many dedicated professionals behind the scene? It was certainly difficult then to know if this launch of new concepts of daily soaps, TV serials, will be accepted. We clearly recognize the name behind this change, Balaji Telefilms, and its founder, Ekta Kapoor. But did you know that she had a very strong support of Nivedita Basu, a very talented, equally dedicated girl who was ready to learn, explore, give it her all. Nivedita Basu, who joined Balaji Telefilms straight after completing her master's in mass communication from Symbiosis College, Pune, has seen the television industry from its nascent stage to being a huge success now and its ever evolving stage right now. As a creative director, Nivedita Basu has completed over 95 daily soaps that include iconic serials like Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, Kasauti Zindagi Ki, Kusum, and many case series, which went on to be a part of the household conversations and bringing all the family members together for that 1 hour every day. Nivedita has now now runs her own production house, the House of Originals. She owns a cricket team, Babu Moshais. It is in the Box Cricket League and also runs an NGO, Pehla Kadam. I'm personally very proud of her journey as she's been a fellow classmate while we all did our masters in mass communication from Symbiosis. So please help me welcome Nivedita Basu. Hi, Nivi.
Hi, Alam. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm very good. How are you? How's
Very
it been?
well.
Thank you for joining us
However
today.
well we can be in COVID times, I am well.
Good. Yeah, I know the numbers are increasing there, but I see your spirit is always high. So that's very nice. Keep up with that. So great. Devi, I know that we studied together and you did learn editing and a little bit of camera and all that. But then your journey was like totally different. You were in this, you just went and joined Balaji Telefilms right
Yeah.
after college, and it was, I don't think all of us ever understood what daily soaps and all are. So how was your journey? How was the beginning?
Trust me, I was in the same boat. I never knew what daily soaps were. In
Yeah.
fact, if you remember, for my internship, I had gone to Channel V, and I had gotten
Yes.
absorbed there during our college time.
Yes.
So while I was there, I whole enjoyed that whole funky thing because if you remember, I was a very fun-loving and very yo kind of a person. So that was
Yeah.
totally my kind of content. But
True.
then, Channel V decided that it was going to be, going in under the star wing. So they said, we're
Yes.
not going to do any fun stuff. We're only going to do music. And I was like, what more can you do in music? You've already been there and you've already done whatever you had to do in music. And music channels need to be more than just music. So that's when this friend of mine, Vandana, she was a colleague of mine in Channel V. She said, why don't you go and meet Jitinder's daughter? And I'm like, who's Jitinder's daughter? I've never heard of her because she hadn't done much work. I'm talking about back in 2000. She hadn't done anything except for Super Hit Mukabla and some Doordarshan shows. So I was like, okay, let me just go and explore. But I'm very sure I'm not going to join now because I want to go with my grandmother on this, religious sort of holiday. So I went there and I met, and they said, oh, we're doing this pilot called Amba, and I was like, what is that? And there's something called Star Plus, which is coming. And I was like, what is that? Because we had seen all Star Plus and all English content. So I went there. I think I joined 3rd March 2000, and I think the rest was history. I just went and I was just taken in by the whole thing. The Kyuki came, and then within 4 months there was Kahani, then within 4 months there was Kasauti. So I think it was, it was Balaji was on a roll, and I just so happened to be there at the right time. So I think that is very important, Alam. I mean, it's not about just doing whatever you're doing. It's also to be at the right place at the right time. They were at a very nascent stage when I joined. They were just doing Doordarshan content, and they were just taking off. And we were in fact called the factory. We were literally like making mass production. It was like I was doing 8 shows. People were like, how do you remember? I said, don't ask me like to teach you that how I remember what. But I just do remember. And I think Ekta played a huge role in that because she was like a great mentor. She was just somebody, who was like 4-5 years elder than me. And here I saw this woman, who was super successful. And even though she had like a temper issues, the whole idea was that she was so intelligent and I was so inspired. I was like, come what may, I'm going to stick by her, even if the earth comes shattering down, she gets angry, I'm going to stick by her and learn the tricks of the trade. I think, yeah, that's the whole secret of my job thing, that I stuck in one job for 15 years.
Awesome, because what we hear about Ekta is like, she is a pioneer, but of course a very hard task master also. So sticking around with her, your experience is very good, and of course you learned a lot. We've seen your journey, from where to my God, over 95. Serials, amazing, like too good. So yeah, so you also did Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki and all these serials, right? So we see a lot of names. Nivedita Basu, the characters actually had your name. So how did you conceptualize all these?
But did you ever realize that all Nivedita Basu and all the shows were vamps? And I used to ask Ekta, I said, really? She's like, you come. She said, you're such a strong girl. And I said, oh my God, why would you make me like a vamp in all shows? So we used to just create names sitting in the, the jamming session, and there my name used to just pop up in every show. And I'm like, wasn't she in Kasauti? Wasn't she in Kutum? Why would you like want to do it again? And then again after 3 shows, it would be there. So yes, I mean, if somebody wants to know, back in 2000, yes, Ekta was a tough taskmaster, but also because she wanted to be on the top, and one great thing I can say is that I started with Ekta from that K saga, so our first show was Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, and it kind of ended, the K saga kind of ended in 2008. Because after that, Ekta started going on P, B, every alphabet. So I kind of stayed from the K saga beginning till the end, which was about a stint of 8 years. And yes, we kind of always took names from our real, so it's not like just Nivedita Basu. You don't know my other associate. They were also there. Everyone's name was there. So, and that's how we created, our characters were inspired from real people, So when people say you used to create vamps, which was so bad, we used to have people actually coming outside a gate, back then we were very accessible. I mean, we were not that big, Balaji building was right there. We used to have people coming on to us and they were telling ki, "Arey, hamari bahu isse bhi kharab hai." And I used to think that, then why are people saying that we are showing such negative stuff? Because if you go out in the real world, I mean, we all know the real world is really bad. When we see news channels, they are much more gory, they are much more real. I mean, when I say real in the sense, they're much more harsher. So fiction is always derived, or inspired from real life incidents. And I think that is what our secret was also. Anyone who would watch our daily soaps would feel that they'd seen these characters somewhere. They had experienced these characters somewhere. They almost felt a part of some character. And I think that's why we were a hit. We were very relatable. People didn't feel us that we were creating somewhere out of the box that, okay, where are these characters coming from?
Very true. Yeah. And I still remember people getting very emotional when Mihir was, killed or he died. And,
oh God.
I still remember.
Don't even ask, so we had, so Mihir was supposed to die. I mean, that was slated in the story. But we had to actually bring Mihir back a month earlier.
Oh,
because the way Ekta had decided, I mean, I won't take credit for that. That was entirely Ekta. So for the first time when we had a character die, we put a slate with that photo, like a Shraddhanjali in the end. So after the episode ended, we put Mihir Virani from whatever date of birth was 1975 till 2004, and people thought that something happened to the real guy. And I was like, are you for real? So people wanted, so there were people, women who were getting heart attacks. There was one auntie who passed away in Gujarat, and they were like, we want to speak. We had to actually send a car to Mihir's house and get him to office, because that time mobiles were not very prevalent, no? So people would call
yeah.
on a landline. So we called him back, and he had to actually talk to a 90-year-old lady saying that I'm alive, auntie. Matlab in Gujarati you spoke, and we were like, oh my God, this has become like a cult. And we had to, devise a method to get him in a little earlier. And that, of course, created history. I mean, his dying was one level, but when he came back, it was next level. I mean, that gave the rise and push to Kyuki Saas, I feel.
Yeah, and in that era of non-social media, of
Trust
Facebook
me.
or Twitter or anything, you had that impact. So amazing! Kudos to your hard work and how you guys
So that
pulled
was
it.
also a hard thing for us, Alam, because we
Yeah,
didn't have social media to know how popular we were. But see, the
absolutely.
good part that we would actually, Ekta and I would walk to Siddhivinayak from Juhu, which is about 15 kilometers. So whenever we would walk, people recognize Ekta. Okay, they don't have to recognize me. So Ekta would always pass on ki ye hai wo Nivedita, and we would see aunties and all coming, and there were old ladies coming and falling on Ekta's feet and all. I mean, that was our level of popularity, because there was real crowd who was coming and saying, "Arey, हमें आपका ये वाला track अच्छा लगा. अरे आपने इसको ऐसे कर दिया. अभी आप कृष्ण तुलसी को ऐसे कर दो. अभी आप पुलकित को ऐसे कर दो." तो वो हमारे लिए ज्यादा TRP और ज्यादा popularity का वो था, rather than social media, because there was no social media. I mean, today, in fact, people say, you create a fake thing on social media and you're popular, but there was nothing called fake. It was all real audience. Imagine grandmothers, while I'm climbing my stairs back, from work after like 3 days. So we would literally go home after 3 days. So when I would climb back, my stairs, I would just hear a title song, and I'm like, okay, sorted. People are watching my show. So that used to
Yeah.
give me a real high, because your audience was right there. I would come down the building, aunties would see me, and they would tell me, Arey Niveta, this episode we really like. No, we didn't like this one. Please shut this show. So it was right there. People knew us, and that was like a great feeling without even having
Yeah.
to see my face on social media. They knew us.
Exactly. Like to give you an example, in Antakshari, when we played Antakshari, even Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi was accepted song because it was so
Oh, really?
popular. Yeah, so it's just giving you a hint of how it had got inclusive in everybody's life. That was
Yes.
the
True.
level of popularity we have seen with those serials, and amazing. Very proud that you were behind that. So
Thank you.
superb, superb. Also, we know that many aspire also to be a creative director like you. So, could you give our viewers like what could be the expectation they should have, and how they could grow from
So,
this?
a lot of people used to come to me, and they would ask me, even parents would come across, like in the building, or even when I go back home, back to Delhi, they would ask me that, what qualification and what do we study? So, Alam, you and I have studied together, but now, of course, times have changed. So if you'd asked me back then, say about 15, 20 years back, I would have said that probably you don't even need to do a course. Like there were people who would come to me who would say that we can't afford these fancy colleges and school. And I would say, no problem. You can just walk into a job, but you have to start ground level. That's where television growth is. I was a television producer, director, and channel V. So many people know that, and so many people don't know it. But when I joined Balaji, I became like, I didn't even get my stipend for 3 months, because I was like on a trial period. I didn't know the line of work. I didn't know what fiction was. And I was like, let me just explore. Let me see if I like the whole thing. And the growth was like exponential, because there's no time frame as to key. It's not like a corporate job that, okay, 2 years you work, you get 10%, then 3 years. If you show results in 6 months, you can escalate and become like the boss of a company, if you show results, because it is so fast. It's the turnaround time is really fast. So if you want to, get into the television line per se, if you ask me, today television people, I mean, equate to an OTT platform. So if you say any of these particular lines you want to join, I would say even if you are a graduate, you should go and work with somebody who you are very passionate about. You know, back then we didn't know Ekta, but today we know Ekta. So say if I want to be a director, I want to work with Raju Irani. I don't mind being a fourth AD, you know, who's just probably calling actors that come for your call time is this or come for this. Because that's the only way to grow into that system. See, everyone's very comfortable in their own positions. People have been sitting on their jobs for so long. So if you want to grow into the system, you have to start right at the bottom and grow up. So you should not have any egos. You should not have, oh, my self-respect, I've already been an XYZ journo, you know, and why should I just come in as a base level worker? So I think this is a very, very, I mean, I'm giving you a huge tip in terms of job in media, that have a lot of humility, because this is a tough and dirty job, you know, because when you're working with actors, they come with their own background, XYZ. You have pressures to deliver because you have to deliver an episode daily. You might not have written it, the channel might not have liked it, there might be rejection. So it's a whole lot of pressure. I mean, I would call myself really, like, I would say I did a commendable job in terms of being patient, because I thought I was a very impatient person. But when you have like this whole Herculean task of putting a show every day there, and we didn't have a show, we had almost 15 shows a day, you know, to put out there. So it was a huge task, and people who are aspiring, I mean, I had almost 100 assistants training under me in a year or even more. And
Oh
all
my
those kids grew on to become like very, very successful. So that was a whole tip, you know. So people who stayed on, didn't really, you know, crumble under pressure, they grew out and they became really big.
Yeah, amazing. Like good tips for anyone to, really learn their job. It's good to start on, ground root level. So amazing. You started from there and now to your own production house,
Yeah,
the House of Originals. And what a show you started with. Meri
I
Awaaz
know.
Suno, and such a different story actually. When I used to see, I'm like, this is not Nivedita. It's like very,
That was
very
actually
different.
consciously done, Alam, you know, because after
Okay.
having done Saas Bahu for so long, the whole idea was that if I had just done an extension, I could never overtake a Balaji, you know. So Balaji is like a mammoth company. My whole idea of starting my own production was to do very boutique sort of projects, you know, projects which I might not have done before, but I want to do. So when this biopic came my way, you know, Vikas Gupta, he was the guy who pitched it to me. He was my Rocky brother. He was the head of the channel, and he said, "Why don't you do it?" And I said, I would just love to do it. And I think that was a takeoff point. And I'm so proud to have done it, because it might not have been your commercially hit, but it was critically so acclaimed. And, you know, anyone, I mean, I'm talking about the creme de la creme, you know, who didn't watch TV would also come across and tell me, oh, we used to love your show. That was yours, Nivedita. And I was like, wow, you know, I finally had something to my own credit, you know, which I'd created and people were very proud to watch. So obviously, Kyuki had a different audience and Meri Awaaz had a different audience. Post that, after doing Meri Awaaz, they were like, oh, Nivedita, you made Kyuki Saaz. Why don't you make another commercial show? Then came Ek Viva, which was my second show. And again, that was a commercially successful show and it had its run. And then, of course, I had my baby. So I was like, this is a good time to take a break, because the whole idea of having a baby later was that, you know, I finish all my work commitments and I have all the time to devote to my child. And I think that was a beautiful phase, because when I had my baby, I started creating a lot of content, because OTT was the future, and anyone who was sitting on a lot of content would have been able to, you know, get into the OTT platform and that space easily. So I think having a sabbatical, so to say, and not a, you know, like non-working sabbatical, helped me in a way, because now I have made the switch, you know, to OTT, which was my dream actually.
Yeah, great. And what is the plan on OTT now? What's Are you
Uh,
directing, producing? What is
So I'm
it
doing a
like?
whole
Can
lot
you
of things.
share?
You know, I don't want to
Really?
give people hopes that. So okay, so I did because obviously I've done content for so long. So there were a lot of people who approached me for creating the shows. You know, so I did show running for few web films for a few of the leading platforms, and then you know, so a lot of people feel that I'm a very production person, but actually I'm not. You know, I don't want to get into the nitty gritties of, oh, when did the equipment come, which vendor is going to be paid what. In fact, I'm more on the creative side, you know. So you know that we all learn direction and every aspect of filmmaking. So the idea was to eventually switch to direction. So that's where I'm aiming at going now. But yes, I am producing also web content with my friends and partners who are going to do actually the hard work of the production part. But my contribution being obviously creating the whole content. The channels are aware of my expertise, in the creative side, so they kind of trust you and they kind of give you the content. So it is not easy, but the good part about OTT is that, it's not like 3 hours of television that, okay, after 3 hours you can't make content. You can make unlimited content for OTT. So yes, the future is OTT. Like you said, everyone watches everything on their palm today, and that is going to be the future. Even almost 50% we kind of sped up the OTT space in India because of the lockdown. People who were not very, computer friendly became more tech savvy and started watching web, which is a good thing because we were quite a few years behind, say, probably in America or any other country abroad. But the lockdown kind of helped us, trust me, because somebody like my mother,
Yeah.
who would never have access to a computer or a phone today, watches stuff on a Z5 or watches stuff on a Sony Live, which is a great thing. I think it's quite commendable.
Yeah, very true, very true. It's the way forward, It's everybody, and it's very convenient also. So
Oh,
it
trust me.
really, yeah, it really adds an amazing content coming. Like I literally have so many recommendations coming from my friends every day.
Yeah.
Watch this, watch that. So it's really caters to everybody's taste also. So all the
And I
best to
told
you.
you that I've watched your Swedish content, I mean, you didn't know of
Yeah,
the Swedish content which had come, but these guys have made such
absolutely.
really, I mean, I never knew Marcella was a Swedish production or Caliphate. It was like one of the most brilliant shows I saw about 6 months back. So I think what OTT does is that, it's not like you have to be in India to be able to access,
Yeah,
our kind of content. You can be sitting there and probably watching whatever I'm watching today at the same time, and we can have
exactly.
like, like I might like a Swedish show better than an Indian show, and it can be vice versa for you. So I think OTT has really like bridged a whole lot of gaps, in terms of content creation. A lot of younger people who earlier thought that how we get, to make content, and today they are. There are companies like Dice Media and these small chutku YouTube, content makers who have now come onto the bigger platform. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's a whole new world again for you. Like you
Yes.
started from where and then from where, and now
Fingers
great.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, of course. No, no, it'll be all good. And yeah, let's talk about your box cricket league also. Now that you're here, how did you get into cricket now? From where did this Babu Moshai team come up? Right?
So I don't know if you know that, like my parents, I don't know, I think that came in their stomach only, it must have come because my parents are obsessed with cricket, obsessed.
Ah,
So
been
much
there.
so that I remember when we were kids, they would not make food. Like my mother would not make food if there's a match. They would be like, okay, just order in. And I'm like, are you for real? And what are they watching? They're watching some random local match, which is not even like the one, that time one day was very famous. So they were that obsessed with cricket. So obviously, I was also sports wise, I was a little inclined because I was a sports captain of my school and all. So I was into sports, and this cricket thing came into being because see, IPL did well, and then there was something called Celebrity Cricket League, which Sohail Khan and all owned, where all the films and TV and music celebs were playing. So television had this, this huge lacune where people thought that, okay, why not have something for TV? But I was like, we can't replicate the same model which these guys have, So my friends, when they came up with the idea, we all sat and we like, brainstormed, and we came out that why not have women also pitched against each other? So what if we have like a Saas bowling to a Bahu or a Bahu bowling to a Dev Rani, whatever. And that's where this concept came, where we had women in, and because there were women, we said, okay, we'll have to do it in an AC interior sort of a game area, and we played the game with a softball. So yeah, a whole lot of concept of cricket change. It was more entertainment, but it was good entertainment. Like people used to actually like message us during a show ki, acha, when are they going to play box cricket? When will this one be pitched against each other? And I'm like, okay. I said, serial is separate. This is separate. Don't get too confused. So cricket came in from there, and I think it was more entertainment because reality shows were doing well. People wanted to see almost like a Big Boss, कि ये उससे लड़ रहा है. अच्छा, जो serial में वो यहाँ पे कैसा behave करेगा. So it was full masala. And I think because I came from a masala side of entertainment, it was like, चलो निवेदिता को बोलो मसाला बनाए. So it became quite entertaining. It was almost like masala, the daily masala on cricket field.
Yeah, you made a perfect combination, I must say, of all this Saas Bahu Masala with cricket is, of course, India's, game.
Worship.
So,
Yeah, we
yeah,
worship
they
it.
worship like so. Perfect combination for you over there. Very good. We are getting some questions, and viewers, you can keep sending your question, but we have more to speak to Nivedita because she at a very young age, I must say, Navi, you already started thinking about giving back with your NGO,
Yeah.
Pehla Kadam. So amazing. I think you started this 2 years back. Uh,
Yeah.
how did you conceptualize? Like, what was the
So
thought
I
behind it?
would not boast about myself, but the concept of giving actually came to us literally when we were kids. So
Hmm.
my grandfather did charitable work for 27 years. So since I was born, he had retired from the army, and they were in Vrindavan running a charitable hospital. My grandmother was a part of the All India Women's Council in Delhi, and she was running, these three homes in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, if you know the city of Radha and Krishna, she was running a home for destitutes, for widows, for, these single women. And so we had charity in our blood for the longest time. So I remember when, as a kid, we used to go back for holidays. I used to be sitting in my grandfather's hospital and see him, train these nurses, these doctors, and everything without charging a penny. And then when I would get bored in the hospital, I would go to my grandmother's, home where she was teaching these widows and destitute. So in Bengal, what happens is, women become widows very early in their life. There were widows who were like almost 10-year-old, so it was really sad. But I used to see my grandmother being so passionate about teaching them something. So she would teach them handicraft, she would teach them reading and this thing, and then she would source this stuff and sell it out there. So it was like a full grown thing, and I was also interested in stitching and everything, so I would also sit down and start doing all that stuff. So I think it was pretty evident that because I had grown up in that environment, that I had to eventually do it when I grew up. So the whole idea was, when would I do it? I mean, you're doing well, you have all the means, but you meet people who don't have it. I would have
Yeah.
women coming to me that we can't afford education, we can't afford to be in a line like this. So my NGO was to only kind of orient these people towards stuff which they want to do. So if a girl comes and tells me, I want to be uh, you know, a model, or I want to be an actress. So we kind of put the right connections in, and we kind of tell them, okay, this is a pageant which is coming in which doesn't charge you money. So you go for this. Okay, you want to get into the stitching business, you want to start a boutique. So we have this whole system in the media where people are doing costumes, and also we put them onto them to train freely. So it was a good way for me to do it, because I could kind of align and put together what I had in terms of my resources without asking anyone. Because somehow in India, charity people don't believe in, because there's so
Yeah.
many false ways of doing it. So the better way of doing it is to put two and two together and make them work. So if a designer today doesn't want to pay expensive stuff to their karigars, they can probably train new people. It's a little more effort, but it's easier. So it just made sense, and in my own small way, I started doing it. In fact, we did a beauty pageant for married women called Mrs. India, and we did that pageant without any cost. So without a single penny, because even registration for 50 rupees people didn't have. We were like, we are not charging you 50 rupees. We groom you. In fact, we fly you to Bombay if you become a finalist, and we take you through all this. So we had all our TV actors going there. So we did a whole lot of like charade, and it kind of worked. I mean, I did it in my
Yeah.
small way, like I said, even in the pandemic, supporting girls. It was purely to do with girls, and it was not just education, it was to do anything which they dreamt of. So it could be, I want to be like a hairstylist. So I would put them onto, my friends who own parlors and salons, and let them train under there, because you don't even get access to that. You're sitting in a small
Yeah.
village, you don't get access to all of that. So yeah, it was like my conscious effort to help in whatever little way, and yeah, doing my little bit.
Great. No, great. And thank you for doing such a wonderful job on that front, because sometimes you just need that slight push, just that one feather
Yes.
to,
Yeah, yeah.
hold you, and you can take it from there. And so you're really giving wings to all these girls. Amazing. We also in Pothos, we are acknowledging the Breast Cancer Month. So do you have any message for the women out there?
See, I mean, it is really sad that this is something which only women get. And, I know a lot of people who fought breast cancer. So I know it is a very, very painful thing. How much ever we say and we say we know how it feels, we will never know how and what those women go through. But I think women is the strongest breed of anything which I know of. They're multitaskers to another level. When people say, okay, men can do this, and I said, what are you talking? I mean, women today, we all, I mean, whether it's you or whether it's me, we manage so many things. I mean, can there be any bigger multitasker than us? We're managing kids, we're managing our own families, we're managing our in-laws, we're managing everyone else. So, when something like this hits, that is a time when they need the support of their family, because that is a time when probably they can't multitask, they can't do things. So
Yeah.
cancer is something, unfortunately, there hasn't been a cure for it. So that is where my heart goes out. So if at all there is somewhere, where contribution is needed on that research, that is some place I would really want to contribute, not just for breast cancer, but for cancer, because that is
Yeah.
something which is a very, very painful exit from this world. So hats off to the women who have fought it successfully, and
Yes.
to all the organizations which support. I mean, you're saying Pothos supports, which is a great thing. And I'm sure you must be doing a great job, because having an organization doing it is much bigger than an individual supporting. But like I said, anytime, anything from my end, if it's needed in that area, I would love to.
Thank you. We are right now only acknowledging and, of course, also trying to give a lot of information on that in our
Yes.
next show, which I will announce soon. But you are getting a lot of kudos. Super ideology, pehla kadam. Our viewers are commenting. So kudos. There's a question because we are running a little over time, but I will take these questions from the viewers. Uh,
Okay.
Hardest challenge for you so far and your advice on accomplishing that?
So, without feeling ashamed about it, I think to turn an entrepreneur is not very easy,
Yeah.
So, it's always comfortable to be under a job where you're getting a fixed salary, But tomorrow, if you decide that, okay, no, I have to have something on my own, in Bombay or probably in India or any other place, I don't think it's that easy, because of the competition. There are already masters in the game who are already there. So just by getting one thing doesn't mean the second thing is going to be easy. It's going to be equally tough, because when you start off small, you will get like boutique projects only. So that had been like the toughest phase for me when I turned an entrepreneur, because after two shows, I wasn't really sure that if I wanted to pursue it, or for me, it was easier to actually go and create multiple things, So I could actually sit and make 10 shows rather than working on one show passionately day in, day out, because I only had one show and I had to deliver results only on that one show. So yes, the toughest phase for me was to turn an entrepreneur and an independent producer. And I told you it was tough for me to tackle it, but I did it and I'm here. So yeah, it
Of
has been
course,
fine. So,
you have done such a wonderful job, Rivi. You've come so far. This will be just, it'll go smooth, very,
thanks.
very well for you. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we would really like to have you again someday. So I
Thank
will,
you for having me, Alam. I wish you all the best. I will wish Pothos the very best. I'm sure
thank you,
you
darling.
managed to get some interesting people on board, and it sounds like an interesting platform. I'll look out for some episodes in the past also.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Thank you. And
Thank
I will
you.
see you again. Bye. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, and that was Nivedita Basu. What a wonderful journey. I have seen her grow, and I'm so proud of this girl. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. But before you go, I have an announcement. We have an additional episode coming this Saturday, especially on breast cancer. We have Dr. Trishna Shirke. She will be joining us from Singapore. She is she is a radiologist specialized in breast imaging, and she has a lot of information that will be very useful for all the girls, women out there. So I know it's a very busy time, but it'll be really good because this is for us, this is for our family, this is to be vigilant about our health. So please join us as we talk a lot about this issue. So please come. And the next show is going to be next Wednesday again. And we have Nina Suktankar, who's joining us from Germany. She is a prenatal advisor. She will be there to speak on pregnancy, on postnatal care and everything. So you will have a lot of questions that will be answered. So please join us. Have a very good evening and a great week ahead. See you on Saturday on the additional show. Bye for now.